Good evening to all the beings seen and unseen hanging out on planet Earth. This is Sovereign Starseed. My real name is Seth. My friends call me Silky. And every night on this show, we are accelerating Earth's awakening process by streaming some sovereign, empowered, conscious news, helping everybody stay awake. And we got some good stuff for you tonight. So let's go ahead and get into it here. Streaming at a new time. This is my second night doing this, so I'm still getting the schedule set up correctly and everything, guys. So that's why I was a little bit late, but thank you for, being cool with that. And also the music and stuff like that was having a little bit of some audio issues just because of our internet connection, I guess. So Ray of Sunshine's already aboard. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, hope you're having a great night. And so we'll go ahead and get into it here. Usually we'll end up bringing up a few articles. Then at the end, we're going to study a maxim. And then, also take in some feedback. Anybody that has anything that they want to talk about or say or sing, whatever. It's all good. So, all right, cool. Now, going ahead and getting into the news. Let's bring up the news. Let's see what we got here for us tonight. Some really good stuff. Bringing in the news. Give me just a second here to take a hit of some of my alien herbs. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So now we can really get it started. Okay, so first, news.bitcoin.com puts out this article on March 3rd, 3 days ago, that says patent data reveals the banking sector's strange relationship with Bitcoin. It says banks and Bitcoin are odd bedfellows, but they do share some things in common. To its proponents, Bitcoin is the future of money, but it still takes traditional money to purchase cryptocurrency. And right now, banks control the conduits. If these oligarchs have their way, they'll also have a controlling stake in the crypto sphere eventually, as the latest patent data shows. So it says banks can't get enough of blockchain. Bankers, together with the rest of the traditional investment world, missed the boat with Bitcoin, save for a few notable exceptions. They didn't believe the internet funny money peddled by anarchists and cyberpunks would catch on. At first, they were right, but then, following a few false reports, it did. Big time. Now, the banking sector and Wall Street at large can't get enough of Bitcoin, whether it's launching futures trading desks, acquiring exchanges such as the Goldman Sachs affiliated Circle takeover of Poloniex, or even launching their own blockchains, as well as patenting their own cryptocurrency exchanges, as well as hiring all of the best executives from other places, from all the other top companies in the world, as well as writing letters to regulating bodies whining about how they don't like how this new stuff is going to cost them money. We could just go into that. I'm looking at you, PayPal. I'm looking at you, Bank of America. I'm looking at all of you guys, and I see it, and these viewers see it too. So, yep, this is just the beginning. All right, so next, financial companies have filed 150 cryptocurrency patents. Banks are among the most prolific filers of cryptocurrency patents, with Bank of America leading the charge. This suggests a couple of things. Firstly, that major banks quietly admire Bitcoin and the blockchain that powers it. And secondly, that they may have dropped the ball with Bitcoin, but are determined to make up for lost time. Their ethos now seems to be, quote, if you can't beat them, join them. Of course, just because Bank of America is merrily filing cryptocurrency patents doesn't mean it's about to launch its own BOA coin. Or does it, fam? So it's just look at this. Bitcoin Patent Report has compiled a list of companies within the banking sector that have been prolific on the cryptocurrency front. These are the top 10 banks to file cryptocurrency patents. Bank of America has filed 45 cryptocurrency patents. What does that tell you about this internet funny money that you're interested in? MasterCard, 21. Let me also just tell you as well that I've reported recently that Bank of America is stripping a lot of its people away from its own money by starting to charge a monthly fee, even for some of its really, really good bank accounts that people used to talk about are so good. Well, now there's going to be a monthly fee for those, as well as a monthly minimum for a lot of those accounts. That's going to push poor people away from being able to use Bank of America by default. And this whole time, we've been talking about cryptocurrency. We've been talking about this other technology that you have no prejudice. You don't have to have any minimums. You don't have to pay any monthly fees. But you have to be strong. You have to be sovereign. You have to think for your fucking self, family, if you want to use it. Because look at these banks. These banks are thinking for themselves, and you know what they're thinking? Money. That's the only thing they can think of. And control. They just want to control you. MasterCard, 21 patents at the same time, banning their users from using cryptocurrency. Next, Toronto Dominion Bank, 14 patents. Don't know what's going on with them, like as far as like if their customers can use cryptocurrency or not. Doesn't matter though. It just means that the bank is very interested in blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Fidelity, 12 patents. Bank of China, 11 patents. PayPal, 11 patents. I just reported last night about how they filed another one trying to speed up the process of cryptocurrency transactions. They're trying to patent that. China UnionPay, 10 patents. Visa, 9 patents. They also banned their slaves from using cryptocurrency directly with their cards. They've actually been very loud about how they're not going to allow anybody to use it. They're not going to allow any of their customers to spend it, but they got 9 patents on that shit? Okay. Union Mobile Pay, 8 patents. Credit Suisse, 7 patents. You guys, this is not something that's going to just get swept under the rug. These people don't hire these attorneys to file these patents for nothing. Bank of America is definitely going to want to be that #1 bank in the future. That's why it's trying its hardest to patent all of this. Here is something that's happening too. So it says the actual number of banking patents is higher still. While the official figures show around 150 cryptocurrency patents have been filed, the actual figure is likely to be 2 to 3 times higher than that. Patent applications are generally not published until 18 months from when they were first filed. And much of the explosive growth and investment in all things crypto has occurred within this period, within the last 12 months even. So we're going to see patents that have been filed here June 2017 to March 2018 that are going to just blow up so hard. Now here's what I have to say about this, guys. What is happening with patents, and when we get a patent, what does that mean, and who are the people that actually give these sacred titles called patents out? And these people that give these like cherished holy grail titles to have, you're the only one that thought of this and nobody else can think of this type of say for you. You know, you don't do that yourself if you're going to the patent office. You have to have the patent office tell you that you thought of this and nobody else can think of it. Now, who gave the patent office so much control and power? That's what this alien wants to know right now. I got a couple of ideas. I've done some research. And what it really boils down to is our species has done it because we needed it for a certain area. Coming to this planet, I've realized that humans are, doing things to get them to a certain area in time for progression, to get their evolution up to a certain area. But then they really need like a jump start in order for them to get into the next area and to actually use like all the data that they've learned. So, and I'm just speaking really detached right now, but like, I'm just saying, fam, that like, as I'm taking a look at this, it seems as though that the humans have definitely needed something like a centralized authority, like a patent office to try to be able to have their patents heard and recognized. However, now that we've started to take seed with the word decentralization in our species, in our consciousness, in our cellular, at the cellular level of our bodies, is what I'm talking about, guys. It's something that we almost know now is going to change things. Well, Do you think that now that decentralization is something that's embedded deeply into our code, and as it gets embedded even deeper into our code, our operating system as a species, do you think that our species will need centralized authorities? Or do you think that they'll be able to end up, having self-regulating bodies or decentralized areas of regulation that, only certain people agree on within what's called like a small little district or something? And those things can change and morph all the time. Is it going to be states, where borders are going to continue to get, even harder and harder put into place, and maps are going to get even more and more bold with all of their state borders because the regulations are going to get so thick? Is that what humans are going to do? Or are humans really going to decentralize and just be like, look, this was fun for a time, but now we need to end up moving past these types of things that we clearly see that our society has reached its limits on? And that's what I'm trying to say, family, is that you have to stay empowered. You have to end up making those hard moves that it's going to make to end up saying, I don't have to wait for somebody to tell me what the rules of this thing are. And the other thing is after I've been watching a few of this alien just chilling, doing his thing in the spaceship, I've been realizing how ludicrous and how ridiculous, like I'm literally meaning that term, ridiculous it is to wait for a centralized authority to tell me what to do. And what am I waiting on, actually? I'm only waiting on the centralized authority to get to where I'm at with comprehension of this. I'm only waiting for them to catch up to me. I'm only waiting for them to see what I know. And I'm also waiting for them to look at it from such an open mind, from such an open perspective, that they recognize that trying at all to capture this beautiful technology at this time is like trying to capture snowflakes in the palm of your hand and expecting to run inside and study those under a microscope 20 minutes later. You're an idiot if you try to put your hand around a snowflake and then go inside and try to get some data around it and be like, oh, look at this is what the snowflake looks like. Every single time I open my hand, it's just water, Johnson. It's just a drop. It's no different than the last one. That's what snowflakes are. You see, I caught them. Every single time that I put my hand tightly around a snowflake, I get it in my hand, I drag it inside, and then underneath the microscope, after I take my jacket off and everything, and I get into my nice, warm, cozy lab, because it's cold outside, I open up my hand, and the snowflake is the same every time. So you know what? We're going to have to tell all these other people out there that this is what snowflakes are. They are water. This is what they look like. The exact same every time. It's a droplet. Look, Johnson, I studied it. I have to tell all these people what to think now. I am the SEC. I am the government. I am the centralized authority. I have to tell these people. I have to protect them from themselves. And I'm not trying to get too crazy on this, fam, but I'm just showing you how passionate this is and how ridiculous it is. You guys are waiting for people to study snowflakes after catching them in their hands and then looking at water and telling you that snowflakes are water. And then guess what? Guess what is going to be so sad? Is you guys that are watching this now and hearing this, you guys are going to know people around you that are going to believe it. They're going to go and talk all about it yo, I just learned from the government, man, that snowflakes are water, bro. Snowflakes are water. And I finally understand what snowflakes are because the government told me. And the SEC told me, you see? So now I know what snowflakes are. They're water, and I'm actually going to go get snowflake certified so that I could start going and telling other people how their water looks every time they catch a snowflake. And guess what? If they catch snowflakes different than how I've been certified and how the government told me, we're going to have to end up doing something about that. We're going to have to end up writing some laws against that now. Can't have these people catching snowflakes differently than us. You want to know why? Because they're going to get different data. And they may find out that snowflakes are not water. And that's going to ruin all of this money that we spent now. This building that we built, this agency that has 3 letters, the Snowflake Verification Authority, the SVA. Look, we all work at the SVA now. So like we have to go out and tell these people that if you're catching snowflakes and they come in as anything besides water, it's illegal. You cannot have that. We defined what snowflakes are. It's water. It's water. I'm just trying to show you guys. I'm just trying to show you guys how ridiculous this is. That this is a metaphor, this is an analogy, and this is because I've studied words, and I want you to believe that words are so damn important to like all you need to do is just give yourself a metaphor, give yourself an analogy, and you'll see how stupid all this is. And you can also see that it all changes inside of you. It changes inside your head, it changes inside your heart, and it all changes within you. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. But it does cost you sitting down and asking yourself some questions and saying, do I really believe everything that I'm told at face fucking value? Has everything I've ever been told been the absolute truth? Have I always learned that everything is exactly the way that it seems and there is nothing between the lines? I'm just trying to help you guys say no, no, and no. So that way you could be like, all of this stuff requires more examination. All of this stuff requires self-examination. All of this stuff requires self-analysis. And it requires original thought, not rehashed, reshared, liked, shared, reposted thought. It's not that. It's inside you. You're so powerful, and all of you guys that are reposting stuff and reselling stuff, it hurts me because I see you selling yourself short of your own original value, of your own original thought. You came here with so much to contribute. Reposting somebody else's something is just a waste of everyone's time, especially your own existence. So make your own existence loud, make it proud, make it original. Because as I'm trying to show you guys right now, what's being said in the public and what's being acted upon in the private are 2 very different scenarios. Don't let people tell you snowflakes are water, and don't let your friends believe it. That's all I'm trying to say. And like, you're going to see it start to happen very, very fast with all of this. If I've been wrong on this stuff before, any of my regulars, call me out on it. If I've been wrong on it, please call me out on it. But I haven't been wrong on a lot of this stuff. And it's because it follows natural law. It's unbiased. All right, so I'm done with that. But next, Coindesk.com puts out this article today that says Venezuela's National Assembly declares cryptocurrency illegal. Like I was just talking about. So one of Venezuela's 2 opposing lawmaking bodies has ruled that the country's issuance of a national cryptocurrency is illegal under domestic law. Okay? So on Tuesday, yesterday, Venezuela's Asamblea Nacional, a group of politicians largely at odds with President Maduro and his policies, declared it believes the cryptocurrency is unconstitutional, using harsh rhetoric. See, it's all words, baby. Using harsh rhetoric that denounced the project as not only a fraud, but a threat to potential investors. So here's what I want to just go ahead and say. First of all, I don't want to hear anybody talking about how somebody needs to denounce something because it's a threat to potential investors. If you're an investor, you are okay with threats. Threats equals risk to you, and you understand, more so, comprehend risk, and you take it gladly all the time. So the only threat are your own emotions when you're an investor. Am I wrong on this? Like, what I'm just trying to show is that, like, I don't want to end up hearing that there's some type of group of politicians that are probably paid by investors, or they want to end up getting money from potential investors. So what they're going to do is they're going to denounce projects using words, calling them frauds, and saying that they're threats to money that could be coming in. Well, okay, yeah, of course. Of course, it's threats to money that's coming in, but at the price of you opening yourself up to the entire planet and setting an example. I just want Venezuela's Asamblea Nacional to take notice of this and hear this, that you're now going against something that your country is doing so beautifully that Cambodia, I was able to report on last night, is following your lead. It is now releasing its own cryptocurrency. It's now starting to declare its own self and its own place in this planet. And it's because of your country's example. Please do not start to fear your people into thinking that something like this is a fraud. And don't try to end up telling them that it's sad because of potential investors. Tell me when there isn't potential investors. That's a 24/7 job. Everybody's potentially investing in you. So those words mean nothing to me right now. So what I'm trying to show you guys is when you're sovereign, you can see this. You can see exactly the games that are playing. You can see the intentions behind the actions. And that's the natural law that we just learned. You see how it all ties into sovereignty. You see? It's right there, those actions, the intentions behind this. The intentions behind this group is to try to make sure that they get money from potential investors. And so what their actions are doing is their actions are going to say that they're going to use language that's going to denounce this project and call it a fraud. So those actions are making them guilty of something according to natural law. And my friends, do you see how fast I was able to show you the right and the wrong in that? If it's wrong to you, tell me why. I want to hear why. But with what I just said, it's following natural law. So regardless of your race, regardless of your gender, regardless of your religion, you can get that in your heart. You can feel that when your vibration is open. You feel that. So that's what I'm just trying to say here, is start to get your heart there, and you'll start to feel how wrong this is, and you will start to end up feeling that you have a duty, that you must stick up against this. You must say something against this. Only because it's natural. It's only natural to say something against all of this tyranny that's happening now. And you guys, I'm not trying to say that government's completely wrong. I'm not trying to say regulations need to be completely out the window. I'm saying they need to be minimized down to like a billionth. They need to be, here's a good way of saying it. Here's a good one. Regulations need to be made 1 Satoshi the size of what they are now, which is a Bitcoin worth. If government is a Bitcoin in size, it needs to be 1 Satoshi that size in order for us to move forward. But you see how it can't be completely gone? My idea of all this is when I was walking into a nature center the other day. Yo, what's up, Mr. Compton? He just hopped on board. Yo, he says not used to the new time. The show went on the road without me. Ha, yeah, it did. It was late a little bit. Maybe we needed you to show up, bro. And give me that notification. Anyways, man, it's your trademark, bro. I appreciate it. But hey, we're going into kind of like what I'm feeling right now is just the size of the government, man. And I was like walking into a nature center the other day, and the nature center has one reception desk, a little room that has all these pictures on it. It has nice little like taxidermied animals so that you can see the actual size of what an animal looks like. It has some of the local plants. It has some of the local just different like cultures and history about what's going on there. And then it had a couple bathrooms. It had a nice little deck around it and a parking lot in front of it. Okay, I think that's as big as the government needs to be. I really do. I think that it could be really cool if we could just end up going to different places and being like, hey, this is the government of Colorado, this one tiny little building. And what it is it's basically all of the cool information you need to know about Colorado. And then a few things that people really value here and a few things that are really frowned upon here. And we're giving you this information so you can be sovereign. And that way you can determine what is going to be the best trip for you. So, boom, dude. And then other than that, that's as far as it goes. So, you know, I'm just trying to show this because, like, as this is right now, guys, like, you know, Venezuela trying to end up trying, some group is trying to declare this cryptocurrency illegal. You know what? I'm going to end up saying that's such a fraud, because you're like, there's no way that even this National Assembly could even end up having itself funded, because the state of the economic state of Venezuela before cryptocurrency started to end up really being a huge facet of that whole country was so crappy. It was so downhill, at least from my perspective, at least from the propaganda I've been getting, and I've been trying to get different sides of the story. But for the propaganda that I've been getting is that Venezuela was in such a toilet before cryptocurrency hit, that now that cryptocurrency is there, I don't understand. I can't comprehend. It's going to take me a long time to think about why anybody would want to declare something as beautiful as this illegal, especially in such a suffering country. I guess those only people are the only ones that want their people to still suffer, and it's probably because they're getting paid out a lot by potential investors. So there you see it. It all just wraps right back around, you guys. So next, news.bitcoin.com puts out this article that says Korean government officials de facto banned from holding and trading cryptocurrency. South Korean government has reportedly de facto banned all government officials from holding and trading cryptocurrencies. Even if their crypto activities are not related to their jobs, public officials can still be subject to disciplinary actions. So South Korea has issued a ban on all virtual currency holdings and transactions to all government officials. Disciplinary actions are encouraged but not defined. So see, they're wanting to end up leaving that one open so that people can really whoop each other's asses without end up having to have any recourse. But it says here the publication quoted the Personnel Affairs Department explaining that if employees trade digital currencies for their personal benefit, they are in violation of the prohibition of forbearance obligations under the Civil Servants Law, especially if trading is done during work hours. Even if there is no job relevance, the officials could be subject to discipline. So it says additional efforts. They've already warned their employees to refrain from investing in virtual currency. Last month, Korean Anti-Corruption and Civil Rights Commission issued the, quote, Code of Conduct Guide to Cryptocurrency. The document adds cryptocurrency to Article 12 of the Civil Servant Code of Conduct, prohibiting officials from using information learned during their duties to assist in trading or investing in cryptocurrency. So that's just like a very controlling move, and now you can see that even those officials, that even if they can do something great for themselves, their country, their families, everybody around them, nope, just because of a little law that the slave masters wanted to make, the slaves got to follow it. So yeah, I just want you guys to see that as well. And then next, news.bitcoin.com at the same time says South Korean travel site with over 50,000 hotels accept 12 cryptocurrencies. A South Korean travel website with over 50,000 hotels and other types of accommodation facilities will begin accepting 12 cryptocurrencies thanks to a partnership between its operator and BitThumb, a major cryptocurrency exchange in Korea. So yeah, BitThumb has announced its alliance with Seoul-based Innovation Corp. Thanks to this partnership, customers will be able to pay with cryptocurrencies at 50,000 accommodation facilities, including hotels, motels, inns, guest houses, and campers. Specializing in small and medium-sized accommodation facilities, it's kind of like a Airbnb for Korea. And so it says that 12 cryptocurrencies can now be paid for with this company just because of one partnership, and they can pay in BTC, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Ether, Ethereum Classic, EOS, Qtum, Monero, Litecoin, Zcash, Bitcoin Gold, Dash. All of these can be paid for with all of these hotels, motels, and different things that are happening all around Korea. And at the same time, all the Korean officials that are in the government can't be in on that. Now, go ahead and post up in chat what your answer is to this. What do you think? If you were working in the Korean government right now and you just got told today, sorry, bro, if you are caught using cryptocurrency, even if it's not on the clock, you could be disciplined because we just wrote this law in and because you work for the government. And then in the same day, even in the, maybe even the same hour, if you're watching this, man, in the same stream, you end up hearing, wait a second, there's a contract that just got signed. Now there's a contract that just got signed that allows everybody in Korea to pay with all 12 of these cryptocurrencies for this Airbnb type area where now you can get shelter all the time. And one of those currencies is Monero, one that's specifically hard for even the FBI to identify. So you know what? Think about that. Anonymous living now, anonymous shelter. So you could either, you know, take your fatty paycheck from the government and keep on controlling those people, but you cannot get into cryptocurrency. You can't even think about it. You can't even talk about it. You can't even hold it. You can't trade it. You can't have it. Or you could just be free and you can be one of the people of Korea if you want, or just be a person. And that way you don't have all these rules and regulations on you. And now you can go and you can live in all these cool areas, man, and pay for it with cryptocurrency. That's probably gone up since you might have invested in it. And, you know, I have a feeling that these two articles right here, guys, if you guys are really seeing what I'm saying, what do you think is going to happen to the Chinese government? Go ahead and post up your idea. Let me know what you think. What do you think is going to happen to the Chinese government? Or, I'm sorry, the Korean government because of this? No responses? All right, it's all cool. So then, yeah, like, here's what I'll say is that, like, I'm just saying that if you were told today that you were going to be disciplined for having cryptocurrency because you work for the government, and that all the people of Korea at the same time that don't work for the government are able to use 12 new cryptocurrencies, what are you going to do? Probably quit your job by default because it's too hard. You're going to be disciplined for getting into this thing that your friends are getting into, your next girlfriend's going to get into. You know, maybe your current spouse is getting into. But because you work for the Korean government, you're about to get disciplined because of that. So I think this is going to shrink the government by default, big time. So this is something that I want us to use as one of our sovereign case studies. And this is going to be the first of many that we're going to put on here, okay, guys? But in one of our first sovereign case studies where we're going to say, here today on March 6, 2018, I was able to end up saying, hey, I think that the Korean government is going to shrink by default because there's too many regulations on its officials and there's too many opportunities opening up for its citizens. So let's go ahead and revisit this in a few months and see what it's like. I'm so down to be wrong. I do not mind being wrong. But, you know, with this, I'm pretty sure that, like, the government might end up actually shrinking way big time. Just because, look at this, man. It's easier to be a citizen and you get to do more. So, yes. So next, in the news, news.bitcoin.com puts out this article that says Russian Supreme Court to decide the fate of the Bitcoin sites. And this is when I was talking about how a couple of days ago, how there's a Supreme Court that's actually going to be blocking about 40 crypto sites. And I just wanted to end up talking about this again. That just says, you know, the Supreme Court has taken it upon the Supreme Court of Russia has taken upon itself the responsibility to decide a case that may become a precedent for the crypto sector. The highest judicial authority in the country has accepted an appeal against the blocking of a popular Russian analytical portal, bitcoininfo.ru. Its decision will affect dozens of crypto websites with restricted access, including foreign platforms like localbitcoins.com. So depending on what happens with this case, the Supreme Court of Russia's decision on this case is going to affect a lot of cases, at least in Russia going forward, for people that are going to choose to consent and recognize that law. So, and this is where, like, I'm just going to start speaking a little bit more sovereignly and a little bit more freely to people as well, so that way we can start to see kind of what it means to end up not letting any one specific government have control over your life. And so, yes, from this, you know, I just want you guys to see that here it is, Russian Supreme Court. We're having a decision happening, like, currently, right now. They're reviewing it. And then at the same time in Russia, Cointelegraph.com puts out this article that says blockchain will be used to protect 2018 presidential exit poll data. So it says VTSIOM and 2Chain will create a blockchain database of information gathered from the polls. It says there was a lot of problems with Russian elections in the past due to DDoS attacks and malicious threats. And so it says, quote, until now, with exit polls, we had to practically shut down the website on polling day in order to avoid it being taken down by DDoS attacks and other break-in attempts from numerous anonymous hackers. VTSIOM General Director Valery Fyodorov explained, saying, thanks to blockchain, we can enhance the level of data protection from cyber attacks several-fold, avoid weak points while transferring information, and guarantee the integrity and immutability of the data. So I think that's cool that they're able to see this, but you know, as you can see, the Supreme Court's thinking about shutting down Bitcoin sites, but they want to embrace the blockchain technology to protect the data of the elections. And then next, I also want you guys to see news.bitcoin.com puts out this article that says Russia drafts law to criminalize the use of cryptocurrencies as money. So I wanted to throw these three articles together just so that you can kind of see the state of Russia, you know, from the sovereign perspective. And it says the Russian Ministry of Finance is drafting a law to criminalize the use of cryptocurrencies as money substitutes. The Bank of Russia. So, okay, let's take a look at who the players are on the field right now. So, the Russian Ministry of Finance is drafting a law to criminalize the use of cryptocurrencies as money substitutes. The Bank of Russia and the Finance Ministry have previously opposed the use of cryptocurrency in this way, citing that only rubles can be used for payments of goods and services in Russia. All right, so there's two people here. It's the Ministry of Finance, so the finance legal body, and the bank. So they are the two people that are creating a law that is going to criminalize. And so isn't there a third person? The third person is the people being affected by the law, or the law the people being affected by the law. So who the law defines. And so basically it's going to define the use of cryptocurrencies as money substitutes, and that's going to be for everybody as far as their jurisdiction can go. So as I'm showing you guys there is that these two entities are trying to create a law that's going to affect all citizens. And what they're doing is they're just setting it up to criminalize this. And so they proposed last week to criminalize the turnover of money surrogates, including cryptocurrencies. And the Finance Ministry recently submitted a bill on digital financial assets, and it disagreed with the central bank on the exchange of cryptocurrencies for rubles and other assets. The Ministry of Finance was quoted emphasizing that it, quote, must finalize the draft law, which will define the concept of money surrogates in the legislation and establish responsibility for their use as a means of payment. So as you can see here, what these guys are trying to do is they're trying to end up setting up a law that's going to define the responsibility of money surrogates, which is, what's a surrogate? It's something that's like basically holding on to something for you. And so it's like a money substitute. And so that's what they're going to try to define cryptocurrency as. They're trying to call it a money substitute. Well, here's where I just got to say, To the people of Earth, we got to start making this decision. Do we still want to use terms like money and banks and centralization? Or do we want to start, picking ourselves up, pulling our pants up, and saying, hey, I'm old enough now to end up to pick myself up, and I'm going to use my own words. I'm going to use my own terminologies. I'm going to start defining things the way that I would like to. And when I do, these things that you guys are trying to write up over here, they really mean nothing to me. You see what I'm saying, guys? Let me just show you a little bit of a better example. It's kind of like when you'll end up seeing like two tribes, okay, from opposite ends of an area. It doesn't matter, like a continent, country, whatever, man. Two tribes from two different ends of the spectrum. But they both, because they live in the same area, they both have corn as a resource for food, right? So these two tribes, whenever they come together, one tribe might see corn as like a sacred object from, the creator. And that tribe that sees it that way, they may never, ever, ever, ever eat corn because they think it is so precious, it is so beautiful, it is something that gives so much life that whenever you plant just, one ear of corn, it can plant so many other ears of corn that it's like a multiplier. And they can see that from the creator and how the creator provided so many seeds on this. Maybe that's the way they see it. And we have to honor that because, of course, they're a tribe. They've been getting along. They've been getting things done, okay? So, you have to see that. But also, maybe in your tribe, you're from the tribe where you think that corn is such a precious object that you guys eat it all the time. And you guys put it into everything you do. And we put it into the way that we make, like, all of our food. The way that we make all of our spices, we in fact make it in different ways so that way we can end up bartering all of our ways of using this gift from the creator with other tribes, in our special ways. And that's how they use it, and they completely eat it. Meanwhile, another tribe sees it so sacred that they don't eat it. Both tribes see it sacred. We're cool with that, right? But we just have different ways of going about our sacredness. Now, here's what I got to say. What tribe is going to end up coming up and saying, hold the phone? You better eat this stuff. It is so sacred. It is so sacred that if you don't eat this corn, we're going to have to scalp you. We're going to have to take your head. We're going to have to do something, bro, about this because you are not honoring our creator. The one that gives us life, or is it that tribe? Is it the other tribe that walks up and it goes, wait a second, whoa, you guys cannot be eating this. This stuff is so beautiful. This stuff is so sacred. This stuff gives so much life to the birds, to the plants, to all the animals. It multiplies so many things that how could you ever eat this? It's so beautiful that if we see you guys eat this, we're going to have to scalp you. We're going to have to take your head. We got to do something about that because this is too sacred for y'all to eat. Do you guys feel what I'm saying right there? Do you see what I'm saying? If you do, post it up. But let me know. Because this is what I'm trying to show you is that both perspectives are equally good, but you cannot force it on somebody else. You cannot force somebody to respect the way that you define something. You cannot force a whole nother person the way that they've been growing up and doing their whole thing and getting by and still breathing the same air and enjoying the same sun as you. And you cannot tell them that anything that they were thinking or doing was wrong because clearly they're not. They're here with you. So that's what I'm just showing you guys is that who would win there? What tribe would end up winning and defining corn? In my example that I gave, does any of them? Is it ridiculous to try to define corn outside your tribe? I think that's really the point. I think if you have a tribe that wants to define what corn is and they need a definition because they cannot come up with a definition for themselves, well then, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's come up with a definition. But let's not have two people that think that they're chiefs in the tribe, the Ministry of Finance and the bank, sit back in one teepee and say, yo, this is what it's going to be like for the rest of the tribe. Now we're going to go out there and tell them what corn is. Yep. We're not going to ask them. We're going to tell them. And they're all going to have to get along with that. Because if we don't, we're going to end up giving a few of the natives in our tribe extra corn. Okay? And so, like, those people that want that extra corn, you know, they're going to work for us, and they're going to go and police those people that don't want to believe our definition of corn. I'm showing you guys this because I'm showing you how easy and simple it is to put this type of physics and economics on anything. It's just anything. It could be corn and chiefs. You know what I'm saying? It could be snowflakes and water. It's so simple, guys. And like, that's why I want to continuously push my mind and explain these analogies and metaphors in ways that we can all comprehend and get so easily, so that we can go, gosh, this is true. Like, why am I letting somebody else tell me a snowflake is water? Instead, I need to go out and study and come up with my own methods. And even if it produces different data than what I've been told, I need to ask my intuition if what the new data that I'm learning is real or not, and then go with that. Because the only alternative is letting these other people that think snowflakes are water also tell me what else they think. And then eventually, I won't know what I think. And that's where we got lost, fam. As an alien coming down to this planet, that's what I see, guys. That's why sovereignty means so much to me. If we get original thought back in all of us, back in our OSs, our operating systems, and it has to be at the boot up sequence every day. When we boot up every day and we come into consciousness, we start thinking and we start putting in original thought. That's the best time of the day. Try to avoid any glowing screens. Try to avoid any notifications. Try to avoid any of that type of stuff when you first wake up. If you can wake up and just listen to your mind, you'll start to hear some of the purest gold that you'll ever come across in thought. And it's inside you. Every day. It's even there right now. Waiting to be accessed. But it takes you having to get so calm, like this music, to hear it. Next in the news, Coindesk.com puts out this article today. Ray Sunshine says, thank you for that reminder. You're welcome. I'm going to take things a little calm for a second. So next in the news, Coindesk.com puts out this article that says blockchain needs some centralization. It says Chinese SEC official. An official from one of China's financial regulators argued that, quote, at the Two Sessions Conference in Beijing on Sunday, that blockchains are better if not completely decentralized. Acting as a policy advisor to the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference this week, Zhang Yi, head of technology unit at China's Securities Regulatory Commission, encouraged the public sector in China to embrace advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence and blockchain technology in public services. However, at the same time, he cautioned that while he believes in the potential of blockchain to fully achieve its benefits, will rely on using a centralized infrastructure. He says, blockchain's advocates for absolute decentralization have no solid ground because blockchain itself is a software developed in a centralized way. So is the public key infrastructure, which remains an important feature adopted by the blockchain. So he says the key is to explore how to achieve decentralization through a centralized infrastructure, he continued. So I'll say this, Zhang Yi, you're getting a massive thumbs down from Sovereign Starseed. The reason why is because it takes a very, very, I guess, insecure person that believes a lot in scarcity to know about blockchain, and then to go out and want to tell the people of this planet that it would be better if it was centralized. Because really, if anybody is following what this means, then that means that you're just saying nothing. You're saying how stupid you are, which is, hey guys, I believe that we should have central ledgers. Okay. Isn't that what we've had for thousands of years? And if we have centralized ledgers again, then what is a blockchain? So clearly, Zhang Yi, I don't think you know what you're talking about. And no offense, but like, just study some more. And please, don't try to tell the people of China, or anybody for that matter, that we need to be trying to end up achieving decentralization through centralization. Now it sounds like you're just trying to sound smart, and you're just trying to attract people that have a lot of money that don't know what's going on, but they want to make money off of it. So I think that you definitely will get a whole bunch of people coming to you that have a lot of money and want to explore centralization still, because it will benefit them and it has lots of good interest to them. And I think you'll probably get paid in something. You know, you'll probably choose some type of centralized currency, but you also know about blockchain, so you might choose some type of cryptocurrency or decentralized currency. And depending on what you choose to get paid in, I think that'll also say what your intentions are. But if you know about blockchain and you willfully want to go out and tell people that you need to see centralization, well then, yeah, I guess there's nothing else I need to hear. And I'm also not surprised that it comes from a regulator. It comes from an SEC official, a centralized authority. So of course a centralized authority is going to say that blockchain needs centralization, but you know, that's pretty much trying to say, hey, chocolate needs more vanilla. And you're like, do you not see what chocolate is? Like, do you not see? And that's basically what they're saying too. Let's put more analogies on there. They'll be like, hey, this water needs more oil. They're going to be saying, hey, this water needs more fire. You're saying nothing. You're just saying nothing. Hey, this decentralized ledger needs more centralizing. Okay, cool. Okay. So yeah. Hey, this room is kind of hot. It needs to be colder. Or I'm sorry. This room is kind of cold, and this room is hot. It needs to be hotter. You know, it's like it's not saying anything. So next, ZDNet.com puts out this article that says new documents reveal that the FBI paid Geek Squad repair staff as informants. So if any of you guys have had any of your computers or devices fixed at Geek Squad, listen up. The relationship between the FBI and employees of Best Buy's computer and device repair unit Geek Squad is more complex than first thought, according to newly released documents. So the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, they saw information in a lawsuit that was filed last year reveal that federal agents would pay Geek Squad employees to flag illegal materials on devices sent in by customers for repairs. The relationship goes back to at least 10 years, according to documents released as a result of the lawsuit. So basically, there's a Freedom of Information lawsuit that the Electronic Frontier Foundation had to sue to end up getting this, and they had to file this suit. And only after filing this suit did they come out to finding out that for 10 years, the FBI has been asking Geek Squad to flag illegal materials on devices that customers bring in. So that's pretty much the bulk of this article, but it just says that the document would show the FBI would regularly use Geek Squad employees as confidential human sources, the agency's term for informants, by taking calls from employees when they found something suspect. But that relationship and data handover could violate Americans' constitutional rights to protections from unwarranted searches and seizures, the privacy group charges. So, yeah. It just basically says one release document showed a $500 payment by the FBI to a confidential human source whose name was redacted that the EFF said was the same amount as a payment made in the prosecution of Mark Rettenmeyer, a California physician and surgeon who was charged with possessing child pornography, found after he sent in his computer to Best Buy for repairs. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on here, you know, and I just want you guys to see that, hey, even trying to end up sending in your information or sending in your computers since 2008, it has not been safe. Because, yeah, the FBI is all like, yo, we'll give you a tip if you give us a tip. You know what I'm saying? And so they're just like, hey, if you find any type of anything on any of the computers that have to do with all of these things, you can make a little bit of extra money, kid. Wouldn't you like that? Paid out from the FBI. So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened there. Just wanted you guys to see that so that you can remain sovereign. You can remember to always make sure that, hey, wipe your computers clean. Take a backup. Wipe it clean if you're gonna have to send it in to somebody. And then even then, it's still risky because the way of wiping a computer clean is so difficult now that, you know, you might as well just try to have somebody privately help you or get a system that is set up in a way that can be reinstalled so that way you can like kind of get back to work fairly quickly and fix these types of problems. But yeah, anyways, next, DSLreports.com puts out this article that says Oregon fails to repeal law giving Comcast an unneeded tax break. A few years ago, you might recall that Oregon legislators passed a new law giving tax cuts to ISPs willing to quickly deploy gigabit broadband in the state. The goal was to encourage the rise of smaller broadband competitors, easing their entry into what traditionally has been a very hostile market controlled by politically powerful incumbents. But the effort had numerous issues, first of which, Oregon lawmakers, First of which, it could actually make deployment more expensive for companies like Google Fiber. The other problem is that Comcast quickly nabbed millions in tax breaks due to the legislation without having to do much of anything different. So Oregon lawmakers quickly backpedaled on this decision, pointing out that Comcast charging $300 per month plus a $1,000 install fee, guys, wasn't quite the kind of behavior they were looking to reward. In 2015, the effort also backfired in that Google Fiber, which had repeatedly hinted at offering services in the city, backtracked in 2016 after Google higher-ups began to get cold feet about the slow pace and high costs of fiber deployments. With the tax cuts intended to aid competition instead going to pad incumbent pockets, the state now wants that money going back into its communities, not Comcast's already flush wallet. So, you know, that's it, and they're not it's not going too successful so far, and that's also because Comcast is now turned into a tyrant. It's turned into something that's so big, so powerful that almost all of the wizards in the land of Oregon can't put their spells together to end up taking out this one huge giant. And that's it, you know, that the giant is Comcast. And now Comcast is trying to get another tax break. They want to end up saving even more money because that's the only thing Comcast needs. It needs more money due to the principles of capitalism which drive it. And I'm trying to say that, guys, that every company in America that uses capitalistic principles are always looking to do the same thing: get bigger, more powerful, bigger, more powerful. It's never good enough, never good enough, never good enough. And now $300 a month is what Oregon has allowed Comcast to do, because they have, set their laws up this way. $300 a month is what Comcast is charging, and that's after a $1,000 installation fee. As if Comcast needed that money. It's like as if Comcast was hurting. As if Comcast couldn't hire more people, which they don't. They just laid off a bunch of people as well. As well as, getting a whole bunch more laws to protect them from, net neutrality and things like that. So speaking of Oregon and net neutrality, Oregon becomes the second U.S. state to pass a law protecting net neutrality. So just days after Washington passed its momentous law protecting net neutrality, Oregon followed suit. Oregon Law HB 4155 sailed through both legislative chambers and now awaits near certain signature by State Governor Kate Brown. So the law codified in HB 4155 prohibits public bodies from contracting with broadband internet access service providers that engage in certain network management activities based on paid prioritization, content blocking, or other discrimination. So it also requires broadband ISPs to provide a notice of the provisions of the new law to potential customers. It establishes a task force on broadband security to study uniformity of laws throughout the United States with respect to protecting customers from broadband ISPs. The task force will be required to submit a report, including recommendations for legislation, to an interim committee of the Legislative Assembly related to judiciary no later than December 15th, 2018. It becomes operative January 1st. It becomes operative on New Year's, and it stipulates that any violation of the act constitutes an unlawful trade practice. So right there you can see that. What does all this mean, Silky? What you talking about? I'll translate. So what this is, guys, is that this is basically saying that if you are a public body, if you're a government, if you're an official or anything like that, you cannot contract with an ISP that engage in network management activities based on paid prioritization. So if you're one of the ISPs that supports taking away net neutrality and the Restoring Internet Freedom Act, if you're one of those ISPs that support the FCC, then basically the government can't contract with you. And so that's really, really good, because then it's going to end up trying to force these ISPs to end up standing up on their own feet and then really hiking up the prices so that way they can try to end up staying in the states that are going to have the governments of those states allow smaller companies come up and be like, yo, we don't end up caring about restoring internet freedom. We're providing the same internet to everybody, just like that good old internet y'all tasted way back in the day. And so that's where it is, and it's going to end up basically giving a lot of incentives to these smaller ISPs. So that's kind of the way that they're rolling that forward, and I just wanted to help you guys translate that. Next, Taiwanese airline is to accept cryptocurrency payments for flight tickets. News.bitcoin.com puts out this article that says Asia is probably the most cryptocurrency receptive part of the world, where, in addition to a strong Bitcoin trading mania, you can already find many regular companies accepting crypto payments to attract new clients. Asian consumers now have yet another way to spend their Bitcoin, buying flight tickets for travel around the region. So you can fly to China, Japan, South Korea, and beyond. So again, we were just talking about South Korea. If you're in the government, can't use this. But this is great news for a lot of people that are in these countries that have a lot of sanctions and regulations against them. So I think this is very, very cool. Far Eastern Air Transport is the company behind this, and they are now accepting cryptocurrencies for flights. And in China right now, it's banned, so you're not able to use cryptocurrency. And Japan, it's not. South Korea, it is banned for government officials, and it's banned if you want to be anonymous, if you want to have any type of privacy in South Korea. So yeah, for that, that's just what I know as well, and that's just what I'm gaining from the propaganda that I read every night. But again, it's propaganda, so I stay neutral to it, not attached. So from this, guys, I just think this is really good to see that now, you know, it's South Korea. Even if you work for the government, it's even harder now, because you're like, dang it, now like all my friends can fly out of here. They can fly to China, they can fly to these other places using cryptocurrency, and just because I work for the government, I can't do that. I can't even hold it. I can't even have somebody like give me some outs like on the weekend when I'm not working. If they do that, then my slave owners are gonna punish me. And so that's it, man. I just want you guys to see, and I really hope that there are some people in South Korea that start to think, man, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I gotta go and start hitting this up. I gotta hit up the new South Korea Airbnb, baby, and start staying in a couple places, taking a couple of these flights, and paying for all of it with crypto. I gotta start doing that, because life is short. So what am I gonna do? Am I gonna go for that type of stuff, and I'm gonna end up, experiencing this world, and I'm going to make my decisions for myself and define what these things are for myself, because this is my journey. These are my definitions that I take with me to the grave. Or am I gonna sit back and let somebody else define it for me? And as it looks so far, the definitions aren't coming out very friendly towards me. So just want you guys to see that. But this is great news that, this is not the first airline that I have heard about that's taking cryptocurrency. There's Ethereum, plus other places that are coming out. But Far Eastern Air Transport, huge thumbs up from Sovereign Starseed tonight. Thank you for being able to provide people, especially people that are being oppressed in certain countries, the opportunity to go elsewhere. So Ray of Sunshine says, making the transition into 100% crypto and decentralized internet use. Ooh, exactly. Good job. That's what you're doing. That's what you're saying you're doing? All right, so next and finally in the news, to end things on a positive note, Coindesk.com puts out this article today that says Wu-Tang Clan rapper's son is launching a cryptocurrency. The son of Old Dirty Bastard, the late hip-hop artist and Wu-Tang Clan member who passed away in 2004, is launching a cryptocurrency. Young Dirty, real name Barson James, is the face of the appropriately named Dirty Coin, a cryptocurrency being produced in partnership between the estate of Old Dirty and Link Media Partners, an entertainment media industry firm. Dirty Coin, ticker symbol ODB, yes, will exist as a token of the Tau blockchain network and is set to be traded on the alt market exchange later this year when the coin goes live. It's a notable launch given last year's spate of celebrity endorsed ICOs and the subsequent warning from the US SEC that such endorsements may break anti-touting laws. In the case of Dirty Coin, the project is aimed at both serving as a funding base for an upcoming Young Dirty album, as well as means for fans to access shows and buy merchandise. The coin will be able to be used to purchase merchandise tied to the late rapper as well. If fans basically bought a Dirty Coin before the concert, they have a better chance of getting in, probably for the price of nothing. So it's a big opportunity for our fans, Young Dirty said in the interview. When other artists get involved, I think there's going to be a chain reaction, he commented. He says music thrives creatively and financially when it's in the hands of the artists themselves. By removing the price tag of experimentation, we're able to deliver for both the artists and their fans, said Bryce Said Bryce Weiner, CEO of Alt Market. As for what his father would have thought about the growth in cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin would first emerge some 4 years after his death in 2004, Young Dirty told CoinDesk. He would have been like, I knew this was coming. So I think that's really cool. What do you guys think about Dirty Coin? What do you guys think about it being called ODB? And are you going to be holding ODB in the future? Ray of Sunshine says yes. That's what they're doing. They're making it decentralized internet. She's making a decentralized internet use and 100% crypto transition, and what all people should do for their sovereignty. Exactly. It's it's obvious, as you guys can see through this, and I thank you for saying that. So as that is, guys, I just wanted to show you that. That is the end of the news segment here. So now let's go ahead and get into my new favorite segment, the Maxim portion of all of this. And you know what? I think what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and start putting it up here. And we're just going to transition into the Maxim portion like this and just show you this. So here's the Maxim for tonight. It is Actus Legitimi Non-Recipient Modem. In English, that's acts required by law to be done, admit of no qualification. And again, that's Actus Legitimi Non-Recipient Modem. In English, that's acts required by law to be done, admit of no qualification. What does that mean to you? Post it up in chat. What do you think when you hear that? I'll give it a few seconds and I'll tell you what I think. Especially if we don't get any answers. But yeah, acts required by law to be done, admit of no qualification. What do you think that means to your friends? To what some of you would call your enemies, or people that have yet to become your friends. What do you think it means to your partner? What do you think it means like in your relationship with your partner? How it applies there? How does it apply in court, in the court of law? Red Sunshine says you don't need to be qualified in law in order to be required to follow it. Hey, that's okay. So you know what? Here's something that's beautiful, is that natural law hardly gets anything wrong. So like what you're saying right there, what you're saying is not at all wrong. Like I don't think that's wrong at all, and I think that's beautiful. That's a different interpretation of something natural. And that's what I'm trying to say too, is you're defining this the way you want to. So thank you for posting that up. Anybody else? But yeah, so I'm just showing you guys that like with this, like by defining this for yourself and starting to look at this for yourself, you're coming up with your own definition. And look what you just said. You don't have to be qualified in law in order to be required to follow it. So I think that's beautiful. My interpretation of this is acts required by law to be done, admit of no qualification. So what this means to me is that if you have to do an act and you have to say, look, this is just by law, like this is just what's right, this is just what's good. I'm not talking about the legal system. Guys, also remember this, whenever we talk about the maxims, we're not talking about like when I say, how can this be used in court? I'm not saying like the American legal system. I'm just saying like a court of law, like just between what's right and wrong. And what that means is common law, natural law, observed law, law of that which goes up must come down because I observe gravity. I don't need to read a book about it. It's simple. It's simple. If I put heat on snow, it turns to water. I can see that. I don't need to read a book about it. So it's natural. It's easy to get. That's what's so beautiful about it. So what I see here is that an act that is required by law to be done, which is like common law, which is like, hey, an act that you just see that is right, that needs to be done, It does not need any qualification. No, not at all. Not at all. How does this apply? Let's take about this real small. Think about like whenever you guys are walking down the street and you see like a big pile of trash somewhere and you just feel compelled to picking it up. And you want to go and you want to throw it away. Do you have to be qualified to do that? No. Do you have to have some type of person tell you to pick that trash up and throw it away? No. But you just feel inside that this is an act that's just required. For me to feel good, I have to just pick this trash up, man. This place just looks too beautiful. Or I just have to clean this blemish off this like surface right here because it's just too nice. I don't have to be a professional blemish remover, right? To do that. Because as soon as I remove this blemish from this beautiful painting or this statue or this mirror or whatever, then everybody that walks by it will also enjoy that as well because they naturally see that without qualification. They don't need to, they just see it. So this is what I'm showing you guys. So I want us to think about this, and I want us to also try to see if are there any things that you do in your life where you follow the maxim actus legitimi non recipient modum, where you find that acts required by law to be done admit of no qualification. Pick the trash up, clean that up. It's right. Help that person out. Open that door for that other person that can't do it for themselves. They got their hands full. You don't need to be qualified, just do it. That's what this means to me. So that's, and like I'm just saying this and like no, there's nothing, like I'm not saying that I'm right, you're right, we're all right whenever we look at these. It's whatever the feelings draw up inside of us. But that's kind of the statement that I get when I see acts required by law to be done admit of no qualification. So absolutely, guys, here's what I'll say. Do you get value out of this show? Do you like what I'm talking about? If you do appreciate it, make sure that you hit a like or a thumbs up, or you retweet it out there. You get it out to your friends. Tell them about it. I'll just say acts required by law to be done admit of no qualification. If you like this stuff, if you want to get it out there, you don't have to be qualified. Just get it out there. It's really going to help. Red Sunshine says, yes, thank you. And hey, you're welcome. And I appreciate you. I appreciate all your interaction. I appreciate the spirit that you even bring to the show. If you look back through the streams, you'll start to see that, like, according to seasons and shows of paid programming, you'd probably be a character on the show. Mr. Compton too. So I think that's really cool. And I'm really excited to get some more people on as well. So, yep, everybody that's going to listen to this on the blockchain later, make sure you go to sovereignstarseed.com and click on one of the streaming platforms to check this stuff out live so you can participate live, you can chat live. Even if you don't chat live, still post your comment on the blockchain below. And, I'll get to it. We'll talk about it. It'll be fun. So, other than that, guys, I'm going to end up getting off here because it's already an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm still trying to think about how to integrate more. But what I'll say tonight is, just try to end up looking up. Here's a couple of things that I want you guys to look up. If you have any extra time, I want you to just look up South Korea. I want you to look up, Oregon HB 4155. That's the specific law that's protecting net neutrality. Just look that up. You might end up coming across a lot of cool websites. If you see any other cool news websites that you think should be on the show, shoot me a message with those links, please. Take a look at how all these patents, look at some of your banks, look at Bank of America, look at MasterCard, PayPal, Visa, try to look up some of the patents they have in cryptocurrency. Don't believe me, go and look them up. Find the patent numbers, find the titles of these patents, come back, tell me about them, tell everybody on this spaceship about them. This is how we free ourselves, family. This is what we truly all want at the bottom of our hearts. And with that, I'll say that we'll be back tomorrow as close as we can to 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Ray of Sunshine asks, can you put the search list somewhere? You know what? I will. I'm going to end up trying to figure that out. I will incorporate that. Thank you so much for asking that question. Any other questions? I love your questions. So, let me know. And if you have anything else that you wanted to ask, I will definitely try to incorporate that into the show. And, I will try to figure out a way that I could put the search list somewhere. And that might end up being somewhere up on the site. And, so stay tuned to that, guys. Tomorrow night we'll be back for another episode. Some sovereign empowering news. 8 o'clock Mountain, 3 o'clock Universal Time. This is Sovereign Starseed family saying good night to all beings, seen and unseen. I love you.